What's up, guys? Hey, how we doing? So today's video is kind of on the 250s on who's riding east, who's riding west. The problem is these teams don't announce this, most of them anyway. There's a couple that are out there doing it a little bit early, but for the most part, it's a guessing game. So I'm going to go ahead and guess. I got an update on the Podium Crasher, but before we get into that, check out Nano Extreme. So what this is a pain cream. They use nanotechnology, so it gets through all 7 layers of the skin. That's how the medicine gets down inside there to places that other creams don't. There's other creams that use nano, but they all do it like the same size. There's specific testing done to make sure this cream gets down there and actually helps you with your injuries. Head over to Nano Extreme and try this stuff. It is awesome. Use code Cooksey for free shipping. Head over to Complete Racing Solutions. Coach Rob has a program for everybody. He has a $15 a month program where you can just jump on, ask questions. He's got all the pre-programmed answers for almost all the questions he's ever got. You're not getting random Google answers. You're getting them right from Coach Rob. So head over to Complete Racing Solutions and join his program for $15 a month.
You need people like me so you can point your fucking fingers and say, that's the bad guy.
So as of recording this video, we are 24 days away from Anaheim 1. And I don't know exactly what riders are going east and what riders are going west, but I know a few. Here's some of the ones that we can kind of expect. I expect Joe Shimoda to be on the west for Team Honda. Reason being, I don't know that they've announced. They might have announced it. If they have, I missed it. But Joe Shimoda on the west because Chance Hymas had some off-season injuries and he had to get some stuff fixed. I don't know if he's going to be ready, so they're going to try and hold him back. So that puts Joe Shimoda in the west for Honda. Joe Shimoda has been a race winner and a guy who looked like he could contend for championships at the end of the season. He has got to figure out a way to get going earlier in the season. He looked underwhelming in Paris in the offseason. He's going to have to pick that up. If he wants to be a champion, he's going to have to win some races and be in the battle early. If he goes out there and gets 4ths and 5ths and looks average until the end, he's going to come up too little too late, just like every other season with smoking Joe Shimoda. Looks like KTM is going to put Julian Boehmer in the west because they've got Tom Vialle in the east and he's got that #1 plate. He gets to defend the championship. That means a lot to these brands that they get to run that #1 on the bike and really show they're the defending champion. That leaves Julian Boehmer in the west, which I think suits Julian a little bit better. He's good on that hard pack stuff. He's from Lake Havasu, so he really does good on the hard, slick surfaces. I look for Julian Boehmer to really turn some heads. He might even win a race. He might even be in the championship hunt. That's the jump that I would like to see Julian make, and he might do it. Now, Star Yamaha, this is a big mystery. I have no idea what they're going to do. They have, as far as I know, it looks like Nate Thrasher and Michael Mosman are going west. Then they have 5 potential guys that could go east. I don't see them doing that. I see them having more guys on the west, and I think Deegan may show up at Anaheim 1. Here's why. He's going to go 450 either next year or the following year. And I truly believe that he is a guy that, like his dad understands the big picture. It would be nice to get him to race in all the West Coast stadiums so he doesn't have to do it for the first time on a 450. I think that's something that they're probably going to look at, and that might be a reason because his first 2 seasons they ran in the East. So I think this 3rd season they might put him in the West. They haven't announced anything, and it sounds like they're leaning towards East, but don't be shocked if Hayden shows up at Anaheim 1. And I haven't confirmed this, but it looks like Pro Circuit will have Levi Kitchen and Garrett Marchbanks in the west, and then McAdoo and Hammaker in the east. And I have no idea what Ty Masterpool is going to do. Levi Kitchen will for sure be a championship contender, and I'm excited to see my boy Garrett Marchbanks. He's back on factory equipment. Can he make that jump? He's been a podium guy. He almost won some races last year, and now with that factory equipment, can he win races? I mean, he's won before. He won Daytona. But that was a long time ago, but it was on a Pro Circuit Kawasaki. Can he get there? Can he be a title threat? Can he win races? Very possible. Big thank you to the guys at Club MX, because they have actually told us Max Vohland is planning on going in the West. Max is so talented, and he looked so good on that Pro Circuit bike last year until he had that devastating hip injury that took him out for the rest of the year. That could have been career-ending, but he looks good. The things that Max Vohland does on a bike are they're fun to watch. And if he can translate that talent into racing, man, he could easily be another huge success story for Club MX. If you just go over to the Club MX Instagram and you see some of the transfers that Max is hitting in practice, that guy is so talented on a dirt bike. And then they got Cody Schock, who looked so good in World Supercross. He'll be riding in the East. We'll break down the East guys later on. But yeah, I look for Max Vohland, man. Don't be shocked if he's consistently on the podium with that Club MX bike. And it looks like Gas will be putting Ryder DeFrancesco on the West Coast. The reason they have to put him on the West Coast is their other rider, Casey Cochran. So at first, they never really announced what Casey's injuries were. And I've heard they're really bad. It was a laundry list of injuries. It wasn't just like a broken foot, broken hand. Like he had one of those catastrophic, 7 injury type deals where he was in the hospital, possibly hip. Like it had some bad stuff. I don't know the details and nobody's talking, but I know it's bad. I'm hoping Casey Cochran can get back for the East, but from what I heard about those injuries, I don't expect to see Casey Cochran until the outdoors, but I want to see if Ryder DeFrancesco, he's been really good. He just hasn't seemed to find the confidence to really be a consistent front runner. I mean, he's been inside the top 10, got some fifths. I think he won a heat race last year in the mud. If he can find that confidence, I truly believe Ryder DeFrancesco has a lot of talent. Triumph has 4 250 riders, and it looks like the only one they're sending west is Jordan Smith. I don't know why that is, but it looks like Jordan Smith, the veteran who's always a threat to win races, but he seems to throw it away, looks like he'll be out on the west, and the other 3 guys will be on the east. Swoll, Austin Faulkner, and Styles Robertson. And I wish I had more for you on the 250 guys, but they're real quiet. They try to be secretive, which is one of the dumbest things in the world. I truly believe that the promoter should say, hey, listen, you can choose what coast you want, but you have to designate it 30 days out. And then, don't hold them to that. If somebody has an injury or they need to make a change, no problem. But just give us what you're planning on. Let's go with what you're specifying. And if you want to make changes, that's fine, make changes. But you should have to submit some sort of when they do that big press day at SMX, you should have to submit what coast you're intending on riding. It would make for a lot better previews. We'd know who to buy tickets for. We'd know, you have to think a lot of the California people will buy tickets if they know Hayden Deegan's going to be there. And if he's not, then they probably won't. But now they have to buy tickets not knowing, and that sucks. Check out Epic Garage Designs. Travis has the coolest garage stuff you'll ever find. He's a motocross enthusiast. He might have toolboxes coming up here pretty soon, so check those out. Go to epicgaragedesigns.com. Ride Strapped for your goggles, glasses, and shirts. Just a really cool company. So hit up Ride Strapped and support a company that really supports the grassroots level of motocross. If you're shipping anything, use Precision Transport. They believe in customer service, reasonable pricing. They're just quality people over at Precision Transport. So hit up pretransport.com and they can handle all your shipping needs. So I did a video yesterday calling out the kid that ran up on the podium and yelled at Vince Friese. And now a lot of people mistake what I was doing there. I was not defending Vince Friese. I wasn't defending anything that Vince did. What I'm saying is the podium is a sacred place that you earn to get on. And if you're going to go up there and do that, that's essentially like running on the football field during a game. It's not okay, and you should be in trouble. There's got to be a hard line between fans and the riders. Now, if Robbie Wageman wanted to do that, I wouldn't like it, but at least he's part of the program. When you're a fan, you get to boo and yell as much as you want from the stands or off to the side. You never get to be a part of the action. You never should confront or touch one of these athletes. And I got phone calls from both the kid that did it and also his dad. His dad said he did not approve of that. So I have to go ahead and say his dad was pissed at him that he did that. He's like, listen, I didn't raise him that way. That's not how I taught him to act. I don't know why he did that. He's 19 now. He can do whatever he wants. But at the same time, so the way I looked at it is, okay, whenever I see a kid do something stupid, and maybe this isn't fair, but this is just how I look at it. If my kid does something stupid, I feel a bit responsible. So I look at parents when I see kids and how they grow up. Where did they learn that? Where did they get that? He swears up and down that is not true. He did not allow his kid to run wild. And I'll take him for his word at that. The fact that he called and said, hey, listen, I didn't teach my kid to do that. I would have much rather he not called and threatened lawsuits and just said, hey, but I understand when someone comes out, you feel this pressure from the internet, people talking trash. It feels like the walls are closing in. It's not a fun feeling. So I understand what they're going through. So I'm going to cut them some slack on that. But typically, if they just call and talk to me, I'm a lot more reasonable. I probably would have brought him on and let him explain. Instead, I'll just talk about it and say, hey, he says that he didn't approve of it and he doesn't want his kid doing that. But the kid's an adult. He can do what he wants. And he claims the stuff that I was told about the track, how they were, kind of bullying vet riders, is just not true. So I'll just share that information and we'll leave it at that. As for my conversation with the kid, when he called, holy moly, this did not start off well. This was really bad. And I was, I told him, I'm like, I'm recording this and I'm going to put it on here. For about 20 minutes, I was ready to just destroy this kid. But then I had a moment where I went, you know what? How was I when I was 19? I was kind of a knucklehead. I mean, I'm a lot older now and I'm still a knucklehead. We make mistakes. We do stupid things. And I finally got him to see. He kept arguing like, oh, it's Vince. I don't care how much he dislikes Vince. And I'm not taking away anyone's right or saying it's wrong for anyone to boo or yell things. That's up to you whether you want to do that or not. What I tried explaining to him is that barrier. You don't go on the podium. You don't run on the track. You're not a racer there, so you don't get to, you cannot enter that. You do not enter where people compete. You don't get to fight. You get to choose who you can cheer for and you can boo, but you can't cross that line. It's got to be a hard line. I finally got through to him when he was telling me about his racing career, and he said, yeah, I've stood on podiums. I said, well, how would you feel? Do I have the right to come up there and scream in your face when you're on the podium? Oh, no. I was like, see, it's not okay. There's got to be a hard line between that, and you can't do that. And I think being 19, I'm going to cut him some slack. Listen, I was a bit of a knucklehead, and like I said, I got thumped plenty of times for it, and I'll probably get thumped again at some point for things I say. But with that said, you can't act like that. You can't do that. That is a hard line that we have to draw and just not allow. You cannot cross the line there. But like I said, he's 19. And I feel bad for the kids these days. The stupid stuff that my generation did, it wasn't all on film. We did the dumb stuff. We had a few people talk to us and then it went away. These poor guys, it lives forever. It's a different generation. And I honestly feel bad for that. The fact that you can become a great guy and do all these great things, but that one stupid thing you did lives forever now. And it sucks. It really does. I kind of go back to the 90s and I wish that it was like that where you could actually make some mistakes, recover and move forward. But nowadays with social media, YouTube, Instagram, it lives forever when you do something stupid. So I do feel bad. And that's why I want to kind of go easy on, I believe Elijah Davis is his name. I'm going to give him a pass. He said he's not going to do it again. Whether he was patronizing me or not, he said he understood where I was coming from and that he shouldn't have went up on the podium. It wasn't about what he feels about Vince. I could care less what he thinks of Vince, and I'm sure Vince doesn't care, but you can't cross the line and enter the track or the podium. I think he'll do better, and so that was an interesting conversation with both him and his dad, and we all make mistakes, so I'm going to give him a pass on this one. Don't do it again, Elijah. Thank you to all the members, and don't forget, the helmet giveaway is coming up soon, so if you are a member at the end of this month, we are going to give away the Coach Rob CRS custom painted helmet. We have just over 100 members right now, so that's your odds. You got pretty good odds to win that helmet. It's $2.99 a month, helps me out. So if you want to do that,